Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're going to wait for a few more people to join, then we will get started. But whilst we are waiting, as we always do, I'm going to turn the chat on. Just pop a message in the chat introducing yourself. Let us know your name and where you're calling from. Hi there, Maria from Greece. Hi, Henry from London. Matt's from Valencia. Charlotte from Brighton. Some familiar faces and some new faces, I think. Lisa from Wolverhampton. Thank you for joining us. Okay, well, we are going to get started. My name is Dr. Edmund Farrar. I'm one of the team here at Otto. I have tinnitus, is the reason I founded the company. This afternoon, this morning, depending on where you're calling from, we are going to try something new. So this is one of our first live tinnitus Q&As in the Otto app. If you've joined one of our webinars before, you'll probably be familiar with the format that we're using. If this is your first Otto webinar, your first Q&A, thank you for joining. What we're going to do today is essentially answer any questions you guys have about tinnitus or Otto or how Otto can help. Thank you to those of you that have submitted questions beforehand. So I'm going to work through those first. But I want to get onto all of your guys' questions. There's 31 people here this evening. And I'm sure all of you have got questions about tinnitus, about tuning it out, about how to manage it. So make the most of this. Put your questions in the Q&A. You can just click Q&A and you can submit a question, and I will do my best to get around to them. So let's just dive straight in. First question we've got, can you explain the stages of habituation? In order to answer that question, I first need to talk about what habituation is and how it works. So habituation is essentially when three things happen. It's when you stop noticing your tinnitus, you're no longer aware of it. If you do notice it, if you do listen for it with intent, it won't make you feel bad. And the third thing that might happen is the volume of your tinnitus, you will perceive it to be less. Okay? I'm going to very quickly explain how that process happens, because it's important to understand this and understand that it is possible before we talk about the stages. Okay? So I'm going to very quickly share this diagram. You notice your tinnitus at the moment because it makes you feel bad. Your tinnitus will probably make you feel anxious, upset, sad, depressed, lonely, angry, frustrated, because it makes you feel one of those bad feelings. Your brain registers the sound as a threat. Your brain needs to keep checking for that threat. So you'll find yourself scanning for tinnitus. That means you notice it, and of course it makes you feel bad, reinforces your brain that it's a threat. So we need to interrupt this cycle. We interrupt this cycle by changing your brain's automatic reaction to the tinnitus. So your brain no longer thinks it's a threat. If your brain no longer thinks it's a threat, those two, perhaps three things are going to happen. And when these two things have happened, you stop noticing your tinnitus, you're no longer aware of it, and it stops bothering you, you have habituated. So what does that look like? Let me give an example of how that feels. For those of you that are wearing glasses, you're probably not aware that you have glasses on your face at the moment until I pointed it out. That's an example of habituation. You're no longer aware that your glasses are there, even though they're on your face. And as soon as I pointed out, you probably became aware of them, but that didn't make you feel bad. You went back to, you forgot the sensation. So that's habituation. So what are the 4 stages of habituation? Well, we have come up with a way to measure to what extent you have habituated. Stage 4, and there's 4 stages. Stage 4 is when those two things have happened. You no longer notice the sound, and if you do notice it, it doesn't bother you. Stage 1 is the opposite end of the spectrum. So stage 1 is if your tinnitus is really having a big impact on your life. You can't stop thinking about it. You're aware of it all the time. It makes you feel panicky, anxious, can't sleep, can't focus. And then stage 2 and 3 are the stages in between. Okay, so next question. Is habituation still possible if you're a long-term sufferer? Okay, habituation is possible for the vast majority of people with tinnitus. So it doesn't matter what type of tinnitus you've got. It doesn't matter how long you've had it. It doesn't matter whether it's just in one ear or both ears. It doesn't matter if it changes on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't matter if you hear different sounds. Habituation doesn't discriminate. Habituation is possible regardless of any of the different things that might influence how you experience tinnitus. Most people will habituate naturally on their own, but it can take a long time. And it's important that you get help with habituation, and to get there as quickly as possible, that's something that we help with at Otto. So yes, it's definitely still possible if you're a long-term sufferer. Question 3. What is the effectiveness of sound therapy? We get asked so many questions about sound therapy. So sound therapy is used for sound to distract yourself from the tinnitus. And the idea is that if you listen to these sounds long enough, they can actually change how the volume is perceived in the long term. There is some limited evidence that suggests that sound therapy can help the process of habituation. However, it's certainly not conclusive. So what we recommend with sound therapy is you certainly don't need to listen to 6-7 hours of sound, white noise every day. Find a sound that you find comfortable, that you find comforting and relaxing, and then have that sound as a go-to if you need some relief in the short term. But it's unlikely to change the long-term volume of your tinnitus or help you habituate for that matter. Does diet affect tinnitus is the next question. It can do, is the answer. There are many things that affect tinnitus, and there are many things that affect how loud we perceive tinnitus to be. Diet is one of those things. It's really important that you eat a healthy diet and that you eat a diet that will reduce the amount of stress that you have in your daily life, because stress will make us tinnitus seem worse. Okay, next question. So this person's asked that they're using the app for the second time and can't habituate. So the Otto app essentially provides a self-help habituation program. So you can go through the program, the Otto app, and you can learn how to tune out tinnitus on your own. However, sometimes you might need a bit more help. What if you've gone through the program once and you felt like you've progressed, but you need a bit of help getting to the next stage? Well, that's where we can help. We offer more personalized guidance, and to what extent really depends on how much personalization you'd like. So if you feel a bit stuck, we offer either a group coaching package where we'll build you a personalized plan, or we offer a one-on-one coaching package with some one-on-one guidance. You'd work with a specialist twice a month. We can offer you some help with that as well. If anyone's interested in hearing a bit more of those, please just do say, I'm interested, either group coaching or one-on-one coaching in the chat, and one of my colleagues will be able to provide you with some more information. Okay. So question here from Claire. So Claire, when Claire does vigorous exercise, for example, on her exercise bike, it makes the tinnitus worse. So just before I go on to answer the rest of these questions, I just want to clarify, guys, I'm unfortunately not able to answer specific medical questions. And we can't offer medical advice over here. What I can do is I can offer some general guidance based on what you might do from a general perspective. But if you have any specific medical questions, it's really important you speak to your doctor. So just going back to Claire's question, who does vigorous exercise. The reason why doing vigorous exercise might make your tinnitus worse is because it releases adrenaline. And adrenaline makes us more aware of our tinnitus. So what I'd recommend is, instead of doing really vigorous exercise, I'd perhaps recommend doing some more gentle exercise. So a brisk walk, a slow jog, and you might find that that doesn't exacerbate your tinnitus. Okay, we're going to get through a lot of questions tonight, guys. I'm feeling confident. We've gone through a lot already. Okay, so next question. What causes it? Great question. Tinnitus is not a disease in itself. It's a symptom of an underlying cause. So there could be a number of things that cause tinnitus. And in general, we can categorize those causes into reversible causes and non-reversible causes. So a reversible cause of tinnitus could be something like earwax. Earwax can cause tinnitus. It could be something like an ear infection. It could be something like a cold. Cold can cause tinnitus as well. And then there's things that are irreversible. So one of the most common causes of irreversible tinnitus is hearing damage from noise exposure. So if you work in the music industry, if you work in the military or have been in the military before, high risk of noise exposure, and that can cause tinnitus. There's also some rarer causes as well, which I wouldn't probably not. There's some rarer causes that can cause it as well. So, a lesion in the head. So in very rare cases, it could be caused by something like a brain tumor, but that's very, very rare. And your doctor will have assessed for whether an MRI is necessary. Okay, can it be paid by the NHS? I'm assuming you're talking about Otto here. So no, we don't. So tinnitus support in general is very poorly, is not very good on the NHS, unfortunately, and that's largely a question of resource. CBT is proven to be the most effective way to manage tinnitus, cognitive behavioural therapy, and to get access to this on the NHS is quite difficult, purely because there's not many specialists that are trained to deliver tinnitus CBT. For Otto, we are trying to get this. We are trying to work with the NHS, but it's a long process, and there's a lot of things that we need to do in order for that to happen. So it's something we're working towards, but at the moment, what we provide isn't offered on the NHS. Okay, keep the questions coming, guys. I'm going to get through these. So, question from Charlotte. Charlotte says, I've been finding Otto really great. I'm very early in the program. Well done, Charlotte, for taking the first step. And Charlotte's question is, how long does it really take to habituate? I've heard 12 months. Great question, Charlotte. My answer to that would be, it depends. And I know that's not very helpful. If you were to take someone with tinnitus and you weren't to give them any help, it might take them 18 months to habituate to tinnitus. If you were to look at the people that we help habituate with tinnitus, if you were to work on the app, it takes probably about 6 months. If you were to work with us on one of our more personalized programs, so the one-to-one program or the 90-day tinnitus tune-up package, we can get you a result pretty quickly. On our one-to-one program, it takes an average 3 months for people to habituate. So if you want a really fast result, the one-to-one program would be a good place to go. On the group coaching, the 90-day package, that again can take 3 to 6 months. The things that you can do to increase the likelihood that you'll in a shorter space of time are: 1, practicing regularly. Build a daily routine if you haven't already. First thing in the morning is the best time to do this. Number 2, journaling. Journaling's a really good, if you don't know about journaling, the Otto app will prompt you to do it automatically. So journaling's important. Number 3, practicing on the good days. And number 4 is finding the right things to practice. So finding the things that work for you. If you're happy to experiment with the app, find the exercises that you find most beneficial and then go back to them regularly to practice them. If you want someone to just tell you what to practice, then get in touch, because that's what our one-to-one program will do, or our 90-day package. what to practice each day, so you don't have to think about it. There's no kind of experimentation involved there. Charlotte's next question: can you share your personal story of tinnitus and how you got to where you are today? Yes, of course, Charlotte. So I've had tinnitus for many years. Most of the time it was really faint and it wasn't really noticeable at all. About 3.5, 4 years ago, I went through quite a stressful period and my tinnitus became a lot more noticeable. The main thing I struggled with was sleep. So I'd have a stressful day. I put my head down on my pillow. First thing I would do is scan for my tinnitus. And of course it would be there. And I just have that heart-sink feeling of, God, I'm just not going to be able to sleep. Thankfully, I was able to get the right help. It took me about 3 months to habituate. I was lucky because my tinnitus was never, it was a single tone, it never changed. And it wasn't as loud as the other people that really struggle with it, but it still had an impact on my life. Fast forward to now, I probably notice my tinnitus on average 4 or 5 times a week. It has no impact on my life at all. If I stop talking for a second, I can hear my tinnitus there, but it doesn't bother me. I can come back to this webinar talking to you all, and it's not a problem. Okay, so question from Bo. So Bo says, I hear my tinnitus all the time and I'm not angry about it. Is this habituation, or will I stop noticing it in the future and that's habituation? Okay. So it might be, Bo, that it would be good to talk about this with you in a bit more detail one-on-one, because it's difficult to kind of explain this without having a better understanding of your kind of personal experience and how you personally experience tinnitus. So you say that your tinnitus doesn't make you angry, but does it make you feel anything at all if you hear it all the time? Does it, is there a twinge of annoyance? Is there a tinge of frustration? Is your tinnitus a problem for you, basically? There's a reason why you're probably noticing your tinnitus all the time. And even though your tinnitus isn't making you angry, there is probably some level of your brain making you aware of it as a protective mechanism. So it sounds like you've made good progress with habituation. It sounds like you're getting there. But the fact that you're noticing it all the time or hearing it all the time tells me that your brain is doing that deliberately, is making you aware of it. And that doesn't need to happen. So it sounds like there's still work, it sounds like there's still progress that you could make with habituation. If that's something you'd like some help with, just pop your name in the chat. One of us will reach out. If anyone does want to talk about our programs, we offer a free consultation to see if you'd be a fit. So if you're interested in a free consultation with me or a member of the team, just pop your name in the chat and one of my colleagues will reach out to you. We will record this. All our webinars are recorded, and yes, you will be able to watch them. Question from Maria: is it easy to habituate to multitonal tinnitus? Again, the answer is it depends. Multitonal tinnitus can be harder to habituate to because you've got to change your brain's automatic reaction to something that's changing all the time. And if something's changing all the time, it makes it harder to predict. If it's harder to predict, then it's harder to understand what your reaction is and why we get that reaction. So it can be harder to habituate to multitonal tinnitus, but that doesn't necessarily mean to say it's a lot harder. Again, the process is the same. It might take slightly longer, it might take a few more weeks, but it's difficult for me to kind of put a number on that or quantify that because it just varies so much from person to person. Okay. Will a gluten-free diet help tinnitus? Good question. There's no evidence that I'm aware of that suggests that a gluten-free diet will help with tinnitus. There's no link between the two, unless, for that matter, you already have problems with eating gluten. So if gluten's already a problem for you, then I would, recommend speaking to your doctor about that. But there's no evidence to link the two. Okay, question: how if all method? So I think that this person's asking, what happens if it doesn't work after buying the package? Well, we offer a guarantee on both of our packages. We guarantee the result for you. And we're able to do that because we get such good results. With our one-to-one program, we have a 96% success rate. And we guarantee the result on our one-to-one program by saying that we have a guarantee if after 6 sessions you haven't improved by at least one habituation stage, we'll keep working with you for free until you do. It's risk-free. With a 90-day package, with group coaching package, the 90-day tinnitus tune-out package, we actually have a double money-back guarantee. So if by the end it hasn't worked and you've done all the work, we won't just give you 1 times your money back, we'll give you double your money back. And we can only really offer guarantees like that if we're confident that what is the real deal. It's all backed by science. It's based on the latest research, and the results speak for themselves. Okay, question from Mats. Does it take longer for a person to move to the next stage once they are progressing? Stage 1 will usually not take too much time to get from stage 1 to stage 2. So yes, it can take longer to get from stage 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. A lot of that is actually down to, I suspect, in many cases, is down to motivation. Because once you're at stage 2 or certainly stage 3, your tinnitus isn't having as much of an impact in your life, and you just dedicate less time to trying to resolve it. I know many of you will be practicing very regularly, even stage 2 and stage 3, but for a lot of people, they don't feel they need to practice as much. So it can be harder to kind of get that whole go that whole hog almost, and it does take longer. But again, a lot of the people we work with on the one-to-one program are on stage 2 or 3 and feel like they're a bit stuck and they need a bit of extra guidance. What do I practice to get from stage 3 to stage 4? So let us know if you need a hand with that. Question: so do antidepressants help habituation? Is it possible that antidepressants get tinnitus worse? Okay, so again, caveat, this isn't medical advice. I will comment on what the research states. If you have specific questions about your case, then this is something you need to speak to your doctor about. The research shows that if there is a coexisting depression or anxiety that comes along with your tinnitus, that's linked to the tinnitus, then antidepressants can be helpful. But they're not going to be helpful in actually changing the sound of the tinnitus. They won't reduce the volume. If you have depression or anxiety, then they could help with habituation. If you don't, for people that don't have depression or anxiety, then antidepressants won't help with habituation. There are some antidepressants that have been shown could have an impact on tinnitus or could make tinnitus worse. And if you're worried about that, then I would definitely speak to your doctor. But it's something I imagine your doctor would have checked. Okay, guys, these are great questions. Thank you for all of you that have submitted questions so far. Keep them coming. There's some really helpful stuff here. Okay, question from Brian. Can ongoing tinnitus be related to congestion felt in the ears? And what technique can help to clear this congestion? We get a lot of people asking about this. And in general, there is something called eustachian tube dysfunction, which is a problem with the tube that connects the nose and the ear. And if that can get clogged, it can be difficult to relieve the pressure difference between the nose and the ear. The pressure in the mouth and the sinuses between the ear. And that can give you that feeling of fullness. So there is evidence to show that tinnitus can be linked, but in terms of if you clear that congestion, whether the tinnitus will go away it's not something I'm afraid it's not something I can comment on. It just does vary so much from person to person. so treatments that have been shown to be, or techniques that have been shown to be good with congestion, things like Olbas. You can get Olbas just under your nose, which is like a something to open up the nasal passages. And you can get treatments as well from pharmacies. Pharmacies will sell kind of like salts that you put into boiling water, and then you can inhale the salts in the boiling water, and sometimes that can help. Next question, does the volume of tinnitus increase after a while, or does the sound in general stay the same? In the majority of cases, the perceived volume will reduce. So it's really important to understand with tinnitus, the volume that you perceive it to be is not objective. They've done multiple studies looking into this, and they found that what they did is they got people to play a sound, and they got them to match that sound at what they thought was the same volume as the tinnitus. And they did this on days when their tinnitus was loud and when their tinnitus was quiet. And what they actually found was that at the majority of the time, the volume of the sound that the people had set it to was the same, even on days when the tinnitus was worse and when the tinnitus was quieter. And what that shows is the volume of our tinnitus is mostly due to how loud we perceive it to be. And that's demonstrated by the fact that when you feel stressed and anxious and worried and angry, your tinnitus seems louder. When you're further down the line with habituation and you're bothered by it, your tinnitus seems quieter just because you're less aware of it. So as you habituate, the perceived volume of your tinnitus actually reduces. There are going to be exceptions. So, for example, people that don't look after their hearing, and continually exposed to loud noise, the tinnitus could get worse there. Okay, from Nancy, do the causes for pulsatile tinnitus and non-pulsatile tinnitus differ, or are they one and the same? Causes of pulsatile tinnitus mostly it can be due to a number of things actually. It can be due to turbulent blood flow up through the ears. There's lots of arteries and blood flow around there. That can be problematic or non-problematic. If you have pulsatile tinnitus, your ENT, your doctor will have probably investigated that. But there's other things as well. Sometimes we never find out what the cause is of the pulsatile tinnitus or the tinnitus for that matter. So it really does, the causes usually do differ, but it depends very much. It depends on the circumstances. So Tim's found the 7-day program so useful. I'm really pleased to hear that, Tim. I'm glad it's been useful for you. It's given you a structure and motivation to practice daily. Looking forward to when I get to complete day 7. Are there any plans for continuation program? Yes. So Tim, it really depends on the kind of help you'd like. If you're happy to work through things on your own, then we offer the app subscription, which is pretty affordable. It's a monthly subscription. You can just continue using it. If you'd like some more personalized guidance, either in a one-on-one or a group setting, we do offer packages for that as well. And with those are the packages I was referring to earlier. There's 2. There's the 90-day tinnitus tune-up package. That's group coaching. And there's the one-on-one package where you work one-on-one with a specialist. So it really depends on kind of how much help you'd like from us and how quickly you'd like to get there. And also, would you like us to guarantee the result for you? If you want to get a quick result, if you want some help along the way and you want us to guarantee the result for you, then I'd recommend looking into or asking my colleague, Addy, who's in the chat, about some more information. So if you're interested in either of those, pop your name in the chat and we'll send you some more information. We do offer free consultations. So if you wanted to talk to me or a member of the team, explore your options, you can book that. So Rebecca struggles a lot with concerns that will get worse. How do you deal with this? Well, so Rebecca, what I'd recommend here is thinking about what happens for the majority of people. For the majority of people, tinnitus doesn't get worse. And provided you're looking after your hearing and you're not going to repeat, you're not getting repeated noise exposure, it's, and obviously not medical advice, can't comment on your specific situation, but for the majority of people, tinnitus gets better. And you're more likely to be in the 99% of people who their tinnitus gets better for than you are the 1% of people who tinnitus doesn't get better. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, would be useful to address those thoughts and beliefs you have about your tinnitus getting worse. So CBT would actually help you. And I suspect the worry that you have about your tinnitus getting worse is probably leading to you thinking about it more and you noticing it more and being more aware of it, which might be a blocker in your habituation. So, if we were working with you, that's something I would address. Things you can do to address that are working through the CBT exercises in the app. So if you go, if you open the app, go to the Otto app, I'll just tell you where it is now. Go over to the Explore tab, and there is a screen, a course, that just says CBT. You can see that just there. Tap on that. There's lots of thought exercises that you can do in there that will help you to understand your thought process and change that thought process. So good. Another thing I would say, Rebecca, as well, is recognize progress that you've made. If you're having days where your tinnitus is less noticeable, great. Recognize that. Make a note of it. Don't focus on the negatives, focus on the positives, because I'm sure there's probably more positives than you're allowing yourself to think of. So Addy, so Bo said, thanks for the answer. You're very welcome. Let's go on to the next question. So Lisa, thank you for saying this, Lisa. This is really kind of you. So Lisa's saying she just wants everyone to say that they should try the app. It's made such a difference to her life anxiety. Lisa, I am so pleased. I'm really pleased. This is exactly why we do this. Lisa's back to Lisa's back to living a normal life after just a few months of working really hard. That really makes me feel really happy to see that, Lisa. I'm so pleased. We have a small team of people at Otto who all care very deeply about helping people with tinnitus, and it's why we do what. So I'll share that with the team. Thank you for making that comment. Okay, question from Savino. So Savino's volume gets high when he's stressed. When they're stressed, could anxiety be the main component to your tinnitus? Look, the two are almost undoubtedly linked. And I suspect it's not. It's probably more of a chicken and egg problem. One causes the other. I don't think it's like that. I think it's the two are linked. If you had existing anxiety with your tinnitus, then that's probably not helped things. But CBT would be a really effective way to manage this, because CBT will help you to change that emotional response to your tinnitus. So yes, I suspect your anxiety is your tinnitus are linked. Okay, how are we doing for time? So we have 10 minutes left. And we have 3 questions left. I'm going to get through these in the next 9 minutes. So if anyone else has any other questions, please do put them in the chat, or put them in the Q&A, I should say. So question from Maria. Is it expected to have setbacks or fluctuations in tinnitus loudness during habituation? Yes, it is. Thank you for asking this question, Maria. This is really important. Okay, so habituation is not a linear process. It's up and down. So you'll have a few days you're not really noticing your tinnitus at all, and then you'll have a day where your tinnitus seems more noticeable. Don't focus on the fact that your tinnitus is more noticeable. That's normal. It's normal for tinnitus to fluctuate, and it's a normal. It shows me that you're habituating if that's happening. If you're having days where your tinnitus is good and then it gets bad again, that's a really promising sign. So don't be kind of set back. Don't feel like you've had a setback there. That's a sign of progress, and I want everyone to understand that. If you have a few days where your tinnitus gets better, and then you have a day where it feels worse again, that's a good thing. Focus on those good days, and expect that will happen again. You will have bad days, but the fact you're having bad days shows that the good days are there. So it's a good thing overall. Okay. I appreciate it might not feel like it at the time, and it might feel like you're going one step forward and 2 steps back, but trust me, it's a good thing. And what you need to do is make sure you're practicing on the good days, so that when you have a bad day, you're prepared. Guys, bad days are going to happen. I get bad days in my tinnitus, very, very rarely, but I still get bad days. It's going to happen to all of us. Question from Sam. Is there a link between tinnitus and cluster headaches, and between tinnitus and TMJ issues? Yes. So Sam, again, this is something I would speak to your doctor about. The research shows that there can be a link between tinnitus and headaches, but it's so dependent, and it varies based on what could be causing those two things, and if there's something that could be causing them both. So I would definitely recommend speaking to a doctor about that. I'm afraid I can't give any personalized advice here. And of course, in general, yes, tinnitus and TMJ are linked. So for those of you that don't know what TMJ is, temporary mandibular joint dysfunction, it's kind of some pain and problems with the jaw. And if you do have pain and problems with the jaw with tinnitus, speak to your dentist. Your dentist will be able to help with that. But yes, the two are linked. TMJ and tinnitus are linked. Addy, so Samantha has asked for some more information. Samantha last. Addy's just she's just popped that in the Q&A. So Addy, so Samantha, we will send you some more information. There'll be some more information in the chat. Okay, question from Vin. When one completes the course, do you follow up afterwards? So for the one-on-one, yes, we will follow up. We'll have we'll kind of give you a plan of things to be working on going forward, whether or not you need it. For the 90-day package, you'll have the option to either continue. So you can continue with the group coaching and access to the program in the app. Or if you decide not to continue, then you could just continue with the app on its own. So once you've finished the 90-day package, get in touch with us. If you do finish, get in touch with us, and we can talk about what your options are and the progress that you've made. Guys, I'm really appreciative of all the kind comments. So I suppose I'm going to be a bit cheeky and ask you all for a favor. If you've used the Otter app and you find it beneficial, go to the App Store, the Play Store, and leave us a review. It makes such a big difference to us, guys. As I said, we're a small team, and these reviews really help us. So I'd be hugely grateful if you have found the app helpful. Go to the App Store if you're on Apple, go to the Play Store if you're on Android, and leave us a review. It makes a big difference to us. Thank you. Okay. Looks like we've got to the end of the questions. So I'm going to finish this by saying we've got through a lot of questions, and I hope this was helpful, guys. Thank you for all of you who have joined and contributed. If you would like to hear more about some of the services we offer, head over to the chat, and my colleague Addy has put some links where you can find out a bit more about some of the services we offer. Okay, so if you'd like to hear more about one-to-one, if you'd like to hear more about the 90-day package, just tap one of the links in the chat, and we can provide you with some more information. We will guarantee the result for you in these packages, guys. We get really good results for these packages, and you know, if you feel like you need some extra help, they'd be a good place to start. We offer free consultation where you can talk through your options. So do please get in touch if you'd like to hear any more. But otherwise, thank you. It's been really great to talk to you all. Thank you, Addy, for your help behind the scenes. Addy's been working hard answering your questions in the chat. And we're looking forward to seeing you next time. If anyone's interested in some help for sleep, we have a webinar on Thursday evening, all about tinnitus and sleep and how you can get a good night's sleep with tinnitus. But otherwise, yeah, thanks, guys. I really enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.